What's up guys, and welcome to my Spider Made Easy guide. In this guide I'll be going over the spider's mechanics and what type of abilities you want to bring in order to counter those mechanics. And notice how I said abilities and not champions. Building a team is about compiling a team of 5 champions, each of whom brings something special to the fight. It's not necessarily about any 1 or 2 champions, it's about covering all your bases, and this guide is going to teach you how to cover those bases. Decreased speed is the most important debuff you can bring to this fight, aside from maybe HP burn, but we'll cover that later. After each turn, the turn meters of everyone in battle will advance. This is called a turn meter tick. The amount of turn meter gained each tick by each individual is determined by their speed. Reducing an enemy's speed by 30% means they will gain 30% less turn meter each tick. This will make them far easier to turn meter control. A great champion who can place 30% decreased speed who all players gain access to is Yakarl. Not only can she place the decreased speed on her A1, but she can also place increased speed on her A2, meaning that your team will gain 30% more turn meter every tick. The next topic I want to cover is turn meter control. Turn meter control is the most important mechanic to beating the spider. Every other turn the spider takes, she sacrifices all her spiderlings, and then she heals for 3% of her max HP for each one sacrificed, and her attack will permanently increase by 10% for each spiderling consumed. The more turns she takes, the more damage she'll do over the course of the fight. Fortunately, Raid has made one of the best turn meter control champions in the game extremely accessible. Armiger. Don't let his rarity fool you. He's a top 5 turn meter control champion in the game, especially for Spider. Armiger's A1 has a 30% turn meter reduction, and it doesn't sound like much, but when he does it every turn it's actually quite substantial. The one drawback with Armiger is that he's very difficult to gear. In order to gain the turn meter reduction on his A1, he needs to critically hit. In order to rely on him to do his job, you want to build him with 100% crit rate. In addition, all turn meter control effects in the game require accuracy to be applied. For stage 20 Spider, you'll need a minimum of 200 accuracy. So not only does he need 100% crit rate and 200 accuracy, he also needs to be fast in order to take enough turns to be relevant to your success. Ideally, you should be aiming for over 200 speed, but you'll want as much speed on him as you can muster after getting his crit rate and his accuracy levels where they need to be. Just another reason Yakarl is such a powerful champion. Her speed aura will add 19% of his base speed into his build, and then her turn meter boost and 30% increased speed buff will allow him to take more turns than he would have otherwise. Once you have your speed and turn meter champions settled, the next thing you'll want to bring is an AOE HP burn champion. The reason why is, whenever anyone under HP burn debuff takes a turn, they are dealt damage equal to 3% of their max HP. In addition, all their allies will take damage equal to their own max HP as well. On stage 20 of Spider's Den, each time a spiderling takes a turn while under HP burn, it deals 166,665 damage to the boss. This makes champions who can place HP burn on all enemies extremely powerful in Spider's Den. If you don't have such a champion, Raid has made one accessible to all players through the Tag Arena Bazaar. With the currency you earn completing Tag Arena battles, you can purchase 1 fragment every 24 hours, and after you've purchased 100 fragments you can summon Drexlar Blood Twin from the summoning portal. If you spend all 20 of your daily Tag Arena tokens, you could earn enough Tag Arena currency to buy 1 Drexlar fragment every day, even if you're only in Bronze 1. If you do not have an AOE HP burn champion, I highly recommend you go for Drexlar. Not only will he act as your HP burn champion, because he's weak Affinity in stage 20, he can also act as your Affinity tank for this dungeon. If you're not sure how to build an Affinity tank for dungeons, don't worry, I have a full video dedicated to that subject. I'll link it at the end of this one. If you're going to be using Drexlar as your spider tank, you'll want to make sure you can keep him alive. AOE decreased attack, plenty of shields and healing, and even block debuffs if you can manage, to keep the poisons at bay. All you need to do to win is keep Drexlar alive and keep the boss from ever taking a turn with turn meter control, and the HP burns will do the rest. If you already have an HP burn champion, the best strategy is to turn meter control the boss and use crowd control effects like freeze or stun on the spiderlings. This way, they still take their turn and deal burn damage to the boss, but it prevents them from attacking you. On this team, we have Yakarl as our speed aura lead, Armiger as our turn meter reduction champion, Tyrant Ixelmore as our HP burn champion, Seal of the Drakes as our AoE stun champion, and Archmage Helmet as our secondary AoE control champion. The way the team works is Haikatun is going to keep our team moving fast with her increased speed aura. Tyrant is going to place AOE HP burns. Armiger is going to turn meter control the boss. Sylva the Drakes does her AOE stun to keep the spiderlings at bay. A few of them will get turns. It's only natural, she doesn't have 100% chance to stun. But then now that the stuns are wearing off, Archmage Helmet is going to come in and do a bunch more stuns. So Armiger's turn meter control got resisted. That's not good. But I think we'll still be okay. Ideally, Armiger wouldn't be the target of the spiderlings, but that's just kind of the way it worked out with everybody geared the way they are. They did get a reset, but it's okay. Haikatun is going to revive Armiger when she gets a turn, hopefully. Yeah, there she goes. Helmet with the stuns, Tyrant with the burns, Armiger with the turn meter control. If that first turn meter decrease didn't get an unlucky resist, I think we would have been perfectly fine. More turn meter control. And Scylla the Drakes has some nice turn meter control too. But we're just keeping the spiderling stunned and letting the burn from the HP burn debuffs whittle away at the spider. And do all the damage for us. There we go. In this strategy, we're going to demonstrate a Drexlar strategy. We're going to use Stagnite to do an AoE decrease attack. We're still using Armiger and Haikatun for turn meter stuff. And Scylla of the Drakes will give us a little bit of crowd control, so Drexlar doesn't take too much damage, but she's not going to stun all the spiderlings, so he still gets attacked and places the HP burns on the enemy. And my Stagnite is in a shield set, so that's where that big shield is coming from. It seems as though my Syl was too efficient with her AoE stuns. So you can see there, after he gets attacked by the spiderlings, the HP burns start to come out. Stagnite keeping the AoE decrease attack so Drexlar doesn't take too much damage. He is taking a lot of poisons though, and each one of those poisons is going to deal damage to him equal to 5% of his max HP. Luckily he has the Life Drinker Mastery, so when he attacks he gets a nice big heal. And Syl's passive healing is giving him a nice little bonus too. And Armiger is having no trouble keeping that turn meter in check. With the help of Haikatun, of course. And a little bit of help from Syl. She has some turn meter control on her A1. Now watch closely as Armiger attacks. You're going to notice an instance of damage that's about 107,000. That's from his War Master Masteries. So if you're wanting to get a little bit more damage out of your champions, taking War Master and Giant Slayer respectively, depending on what the champion needs, is a nice way to get some nice bonus damage. And then you'll notice when Drexlar attacks, you'll see an instance of damage equal to about 80,000. This is from Giant Slayer. The reason Giant Slayer does slightly less is because it has a chance to proc each time the champion deals damage. So because Drexlar hits 3 times, it could potentially trigger 3 different times. Looks like Drexlar might, yeah, he went down there, but it's fine. And there's enough HP burns out so that the spider will die before, yeah, not a big deal. So he died, but that should still work every time. Another common strategy used is to use champions who have damage that scales off of enemy max HP. And we've actually been talking about one the entire time. Armiger right there just hit for 430,000 damage. He's an uncommon, but because his A2 has damage that scales off enemy max HP, it just hits really hard. And the next one is Cold Heart, the Void Rare. She's about to take her turn here after Armiger and Deacon. Here it is, Heartseeker, 1,459,000. And in addition to dealing damage equal to enemy max HP, it also reduces the enemy's turn meter by 100%. Now with this setup, I'm using Warchief as my spider tank. He doesn't actually do anything. He's just there to be a meat shield to take damage so that no one else on my team does. He doesn't have any mechanics in his kit that contribute to this fight other than not dying when he gets attacked. I chose to do this type of strategy instead of a crowd control strategy just to illustrate you don't necessarily need crowd control champions if you can just build a really sturdy tank. But I also didn't want to use Drexlar because I wanted the enemy max HP skills to shine in this composition. And notice, instead of Haikatoon, this time I'm using Deacon Armstrong because he places decreased defense, which will allow our enemy max HP champions to do more damage. Obviously, a crowd control route would be a little bit safer, but I know crowd control, at least good crowd control champions, are a little bit harder to come by, so I wanted to demonstrate this style of setup just to show that you don't necessarily need crowd control, it's a little bit tougher if you don't have it. And as soon as Coldheart gets back to her Heartseeker, this should be game over. You can see that the boss spider's turn meter is currently way in overflow right now. When Armiger attacks, he's going to reduce the turn meter by 30%, and it's still over 100%. We had to sacrifice decreased speed in order to fit Deacon into this team, so that's why that was happening. But anyway, Coldheart got the job done. Now, one more thing I want to show you guys is Yakarl the Scourge, the free Void Legendary Champion made available through the clan shop. I think he's an extremely powerful and underrated champion. Not only does he have AOE freeze, he also has a 100% turn meter steal on his A2. So it allows him to fully control the big spider's turn meter while simultaneously boosting his own turn meter to help him get back to his powerful abilities. So this team is essentially just 1 HP bird champion, Warchief as my meat shield again, and then Yakarl the Scourge to control the spiderlings. And the boss's turn meter. There, he just stole the boss's turn meter and he's about to go again. And should be an AoE freeze. It's okay that our meat shield died because if you see the spider's HP, it's basically gone. And they haven't taken a turn because of Yakarl's powerful turn meter skills. There's the turn meter steal again. As you can see, he's basically just took an extra turn. And now he's going to get back to that AoE freeze sooner. He might not even need to. Yeah, this HP burns just finish off the spider. So, in summary, the things you want to look for when assembling a spider team are decreased speed, turn meter control, crowd control, HP burns, and champions who deal damage based off enemy max HP. And anytime you could find a champion who fills multiple roles, that's even better. That's just going to make your team that much easier to assemble. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy raiding.